Hey, my BMX nerd friends. Last week I said that I have some exciting news. Well, here it is. Welcome to Kanode Knows, brought to you by Dig BMX. Sheesh. On this week's episode, we got Zach Krejmas. Zach is a BMX rider and filmer from California, and he's currently the team manager and in-house videographer for Full Factory, which is Odyssey and Sunday. And I love Krejmas. I've known him for over 12 years now, and he was one of the first people that I met in the industry, and we bonded pretty well because, you know, our last names start with K. No, it's because we ride bikes and film and have fun doing it. I love Krejmas. Zach, thanks for coming on. And the rest of you all, if you're watching this on Dig's YouTube, smash the like button, hit that bell, and leave a comment for who you would want to see on this show in the future. Hope you enjoy. And yeah, without further ado, here's Zach Krejmas. Now we on the record, mate.
Oh shit! Yeah, I better be careful what I say here.
Hi, Zach Krejmas.
What's up, Bobby? How you
remember,
doing?
my memory is shit. Like I can't remember much of my 20s. Do you remember how we first met?
I believe you came to Long Beach and stayed at the OSS house. I
The
want to
old
say that's when we
internship.
first met.
Yes,
Yeah,
I think that's when. Yeah,
came out with Eric Ballman and maybe Joey Mata.
yeah. Joey came through.
Yep.
And then were you living with them at that house? That house, or that was it a house or an apartment?
It was a large apartment. It was like the whole top story of an
Yeah,
apartment building.
it was cool. I remember Adam 22 lived there. Catfish was in the back. Gabe Brooks would come over every morning at like 7:30 a.m. just jacked and ready to go.
Yep.
Who else lived there?
Rich Hirsch was living
Yeah,
there for
Rich
a
Hirsch had
second.
like the other half, and he was like just hiding in his room. Like I don't know what he was doing. But he like getting to talk to him for the first time, like on the patio, smoking a cig together. I don't even know if we were smoking cigs, but it was. I remember saying, because I felt like such a I don't know, like a new kid on the block. Like I came out there and Chris Long was treating me like shit, like because it was an internship, and so Chris Long is just like, "Go get the bags, Kanode," like just being a bully. And I was talking to Rich about that, and I was just like, "I'm just playing my part here, man," And he was like, "I like that. You're just playing your part." You weren't living there though. You would come and ride. Is that what it was?
Well, I lived nearby, and then I did live there for a period of 8 months, and I'm just failing to remember if I lived there at the time that you visited. I feel like I was living there at that time.
It's entirely possible.
Yeah, but it was a short stint, like less than a year at least.
Nice. That's
But
pretty
yeah,
wild. And that was 2011, I think.
yep, that's exactly when that was.
What was your life like back then? You were like, because we're the same age ish, right? You're 32.
Yep, 32.
So
Back then, I
you were
was going
just
to
young like
school.
me, 21.
Yep, pretty much. I had just kind of met all those dudes. Like I had moved to Long Beach maybe 3 years prior to go to school here, studying film, and I kind of like was having a hard time finding a lot of BMXers to ride with. Long Beach was not what it is now.
Yeah.
Jeff Z is one of the first dudes. I sent him an email. It was like before I had Instagram, at least. But he kind of helped introduce me to the OSS guys when they moved here, and they kind of just took me in. I guess I was one of the local dudes that was like really was into street riding. I knew of spots and was just felt like so hyped to get involved in something that felt legitimate with other real core riders, because it was just I was struggling to find dudes to ride with.
Yeah. And that's so crazy to think back on. Just so wild. I remember you being in front of the lens and behind the lens when I was out there and we bonded because we both had VXs and free coasters.
Yeah.
Have you always been pegless? Like you were pegless back then too, right?
Yeah, I've been pegless for a long time. I had two pegs and brakes when I first started riding, and I went pegless with brakes probably in 2006 or 2006. And I mean, I never even learned how to properly smith grind. I've definitely been pegless very early on. I
Nice.
think Kevin Porter was my inspiration to take the pegs off at first, because I had the Fly Pantera frame in purple like him with the brakes, and then low tech mixtape came out, and just seeing like Eddie Cleveland, Ian Schwartz,
Yes.
JP, the brakes came off, and it pretty much been brakeless pegless ever since 2007 or something.
That's beautiful. That's one of the questions I was gonna ask is like who's your inspiration when you first got into it? And I think like Eddie Cleveland, Ian Schwartz, that's those come to mind when I think about your writing. Anybody
Yeah,
else?
definitely. Also, Dan Cox and Bruce Chrisman were huge influence.
Yes.
They were some of the early free coaster dudes, and especially Bruce Chrisman just had this buttery style and these rollouts where it was a half cab, but then his front wheel was scraping the ground while his
Yeah.
back wheel was in the air. And he was just doing weird shit like fakey tire grab on flat ground,
Yep.
things that were very relatable, but you weren't seeing anyone else do it.
Yeah.
So it was so easy to just grasp onto that and be like, I have a free coaster and I can tire grab a dirt jump. So I'm going
Yep.
to try a fakey hop tire grab, you know?
Did you get him?
I did some, but I never like brought it into my repertoire
Yeah.
per se.
And it's like Bruce Chrisman did a half cab down a big set. I think my coder 360 this set at the end of a line. You know what I'm talking about? Detroit Avenue. And then at the end of that line, like he talks
Yep.
to the or he sings to the camera and then he goes and threes this big set. But Chrisman either I don't know
Yeah,
if I'm mixing up sets, but he either fakey hopped it or half cabbed it. But his half cabs are so different looking. Like he's like bars turning and just kind of it's a unique style. He made it look so cool and easy. That was
it's true. He
also
picked
one
up
of
both his
mine.
tires at the same time.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah. He also fakey hopped maybe one of the biggest sets. It was like a 15 or 16 stair. You could find it if you just search Bruce Chrisman fakey hop.
I remember. Yeah,
And it's
yeah,
just so tucked and so floated. I showed Speedy G, who's like 20. He had never seen it and it blew his mind. And it was like 15-year-old clip, you know?
yeah.
It
He
was
was
pretty nuts.
like the evolution of the free coaster. You and I were kind of part of that. You know, like we weren't the first ones, but we were definitely on the train before a lot of people. It was like a cheat code to get differentiated back then. It's
Yes.
kind of crazy to think about.
It's
Um,
weird how back then everyone was on a cassette and then free coaster made your riding look different.
and
So
now the
like,
opposite.
and now being on a cassette makes you look different.
Yeah,
It's crazy.
it
Goes
is
in a
weird.
circle for sure.
So let's talk about what you've been up to lately. What you've been working on. I'm happy that you guys released the Brett Silva video. That shit slapped. What else?
Fucking
What else has been going on?
Before that, we went to Woodward East. There's a little edit that's on the internet now. Went out there with Jake, Elstrand, and Julian just for a week. So that was fun.
Dope. I gotta watch that. I haven't seen that yet.
It's cool. It was we got enough for a video. It was going there, you're kind of like social media is part of the focus.
Hmm.
At least part of that partnership with Woodward is definitely to get clips posted on Instagram. But it was nice. We got enough for a little edit at the end of the trip as well.
That's dope. What
Other
is
than that,
so like? How does a trip like that come up? Like who's behind it? Like who's flying? Who's paying for the travel and all that? Is it you guys just doing it on your own, or it's obviously like company partnership type thing, or what is it?
it's Woodward definitely reached out. At least this year, it seems like Woodward kind of ramped up their marketing efforts and they were reaching out to brands with basically a marketing deal where we send out a certain amount of product to give out with the kids. And they were hoping we would sign on for like 3 years and go to each location. So West and East
Yeah.
with each brand, Odyssey and Sunday. But long story short, we paid to fly out there. They got us a shuttle from the airport, and obviously all the food there is free. But
Yeah.
it's definitely like we see a lot of value in going there and just hanging out with kids and
Yep.
some cool kids that week. And I feel like just broing down and showing support to kids goes a really long way,
Yeah.
especially in this internet era where things are less personal sometimes.
Mm-hmm. It's like
So
the in-person stuff is so valuable now. I like thinking about Woodward, and like I remember before I had ever been to one, it was just this grand like thing, and I thought it was like a big strict business, and there's corporation, it's a bureaucracy or whatever, but it's really not. It's like a low-key kind of DIY vibe, like that like you're saying with the marketing efforts. And I know Gut Stains where Tristan has been working there every summer for a long time, and Justin Benthian, and just like It's all just homies. And then I don't know about the whole gymnastics side of it, but the BMX skate, everybody that I met there, it was all super pretty. It's like so laid back, barely any rules.
Yeah, everyone there is like there because they love BMX
Yeah,
and want to be there.
it's pretty cool. I did a
It
bar
is
spin into a foam pit there.
nice.
Pow!
I
Pow!
wanted to ride the rail into the foam, but I didn't.
Yeah, I remember the rail into foam. I didn't touch that either. That's scary. You can get hurt.
Yes, maybe worse than on a real rail.
Um, let's talk about that Brett Silva video. How long did that take?
That was filmed almost over the course of like close to 2 years, but it was really 4 trips, 2 trips to California, one to Austin, and one to Albuquerque.
Sick.
And then he got one extra clip with Julian to help fill it out while he was in Austin. And then we actually got our last clip the day before the Vans Waffle Cup because he flew out for that contest and we had a little extra time. And
Nice.
how these things go, you start editing the video and then certain clips you decide, or he decides doesn't want to use them. And then
Yeah.
with the pacing of the song, you kind of feel like we could use a couple more things to tighten this up.
Right.
And yeah, it all came together. Kind of the goal was to get it dropped before going to Dawn of the Streets. So it all came together in time.
That's perfect. And then he wins Dawn of the Streets. What do you know?
Yeah.
Dude, Brett Silva's on a mission. It's fucking awesome.
He was on it.
So that video is mind blowing. I don't know what's it like filming him. I feel like he's so dialed that he does most of his shit first tee. Am I wrong?
He does a lot of it pretty quickly. I mean, he does do technical stuff too, like the long ice to T-bog and then the 180 switch bar off the curb. Like some things can take a little bit longer, but it's not quite the same as filming someone like Jacob Cable, where they're trying something that's like should be impossible.
Yeah. Yeah.
But then on the other hand, Brett definitely does a lot of stuff where it's like, he jumps it and then he does it. Like that's it. Yeah.
Amazing toboggans. He's making the toboggan. I mean, I don't think the toboggan was ever not cool, but he's making them very cool again, which is dope.
He's like grabbing it and then pushing it up. And then he slam dunks the ground a lot when he lands. He'll push his bike to make himself land harder. Like he's just trying to feel everything that's going on. Dude's a beast.
What's your favorite clip from that video?
Fuck. Like maybe like the T-bog into the street. I was hyped on with the extra tuck.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of hard. I'm not having like a clip that's coming to me as my favorite. But that I was just hyped on that in the way that I was able to line it up with the music. Like that moment in the video I was pretty stoked on.
Sick.
He had some other plans for that rail hop, but that thing's beastly.
I believe it. What about like on your end? Which clip are you most proud of? Because like filming is an art. So like which clip out of all, do any of them stick out? Like I filmed the shit out of that, like.
Honestly, I'm not having one of those moments. I think sometimes when I'm on a filming trip, it's kind of blanking here a little bit, but
you're talking like Elon Musk right now. You're just pausing.
I feel like maybe just filming with Brett too is like things he's doing are kind of high risk and you don't want to spend too much time on the setup for the clip. And it's kind of like you go with your gut and like this angle is going to be prime and you film it, and you don't necessarily have like 40 tries to dial in your filming.
Yeah. So
a lot of clips I wished I filmed better, honestly.
That's the story of the game. Every single video, dude. I'm like, oh man. Even like how long have we been filming? 15 years, and I'm still, on a Sunday I get out and then I just cut somebody's head off on a clip that I was like, this is unacceptable. I've been doing this for too long to cut somebody's head off,
Dude, I keep chopping Scott Marceau's head off. Granted, he is much taller than anyone I've filmed, but it's like, I don't know, been struggling. Me and him have been filming a little split video, and
nice.
Definitely a couple head chops in there.
What's his thing called to get bald? Is it old man
bald spot BMX?
Bald spot BMX. Are you balding?
I don't know. I think I balded, and I want to say we're done. The hairline has matured, and it's not going any further than this.
It's beautiful, man. Looking good. How do you feel on the bike lately? Have you still like I was watching before we hopped on? I watched your Finer Things part, a couple of your clips from another G Sport edit, and I really love your writing. How you feeling on the bike lately?
Thanks, dude. I've been feeling pretty decent. It's kind of an on and off thing where I'll have periods of time where I kind of have more free time to get out and ride. And other times I need to kind of dial in my schedule, I think, because some days I might have a day off in between filming days or something. And I think I just put a lot of my physical and mental energy into filming and editing. And,
Yeah,
sometimes you need rest days, and jumping around a bunch is like not, it's kind of the opposite of resting.
yeah, for real.
But I was hyped. I got 2 clips on this New York trip that I was pretty stoked on.
Sick. Yeah, Krejmas in New York. That's a good fit. Cellar doors. Did you use a cellar door? Oh,
Yes, I'm
you know it.
so hyped on the cellar door clip I got.
Sick. I'm excited to see it.
Yeah.
That's
And
cool.
then I've recently, maybe a year ago now, filmed one of the better things I've done on my bike, I would say, which will probably be like one of my best clips in this video Scott and I are working on.
Nice. Can you
But
tell me? You want to give a sneak peek, or not show me the clip, but tell me what it is, or no?
I don't think so. A little bit of a conceptual, like you don't see it that often.
Okay, cool.
It involves a rail hop and a 180. I'll say that much.
All right, interesting. I
But
was
to answer your question, I've been feeling pretty good lately. But yeah, it kind of comes in waves.
Yeah, it's hard for me because I'm either in full blown filmer mode or rider mode. Like it's hard for me to go out with the boys and be like, okay, like it's usually because I'm filming everybody. So let's go here. Maybe we can get this, blah, blah, blah. But then if I want to get a clip, it takes me a long time and I have to go out with somebody just like kind of solo and be like, okay, here's what I want to try and do. Be patient. I'm washed up, but we're going to get this done, you know? It's hard for me to ride in front of a bunch of people too. I get embarrassed, you know, because I don't know. I don't know why, but just in my own head type shit.
Just like knowing what you can do and then feeling like you're not performing or some shit.
Right. Yeah.
I
And
can
then
relate.
just life in general kind of gets in the way.
Yes, I can relate to both of those things.
Yeah.
For me too, I think, yeah, I kind of work on a similar mindset where when I'm out filming and I'm with Odyssey or Sunday dudes, it's like this is my role right now is to focus on their riding,
Right.
make sure we get covered clips with them. If there's a certain spot that's going to work for them, that's where we should be going because, this company is paying me to film these people for their marketing materials, and
Yeah.
that's my duty. And I get in my head if I'm taking a long time just because I feel like, is this the best use of the company's time right now?
Right. Yeah.
And so I kind of do need my own day to ride where I'm focused on my riding. And also when I'm pedaling around, if I don't have my camera bag with me and I'm just riding that day, my brain will be focused on spots and how I can ride them.
Yeah.
Whereas other days with the camera, I'll be focusing on spots and trying to think of like how other people could ride them.
Right. Yeah. You're in coach mode.
Pretty much. Yeah.
Yeah.
Where it's like I need to be just focused on myself to ride my bike,
Yeah.
but it doesn't work the best if I'm trying to film the team dudes.
So I mean, let's talk about what is your current role and what are your job responsibilities and how long have you been there?
Well, I've been at Full Factory now about 4 years, and my official title is in-house videographer. And now I'm officially the team manager as well for Odyssey and Sunday.
Dope. Good for
And
you.
so, thanks, dude.
When did that become official?
That kicked in maybe 2 months ago or
A
more, very recently. Yeah.
cool. Have
So I'm
you, what kind of TM moves have you made in the last 2 months?
Well, we got Dennis Anderson on, but that was in the works for a little while. And before
Sheesh.
I was officially the team manager, it was kind of like the duties were split up between Nuno, who was marketing manager, and myself.
Yeah.
So I was still helping to plan some trips and schedule, like buy some plane tickets and
Right.
book Airbnbs and stuff like that. And I would help make suggestions about the team, things like that. But now that it's like officially me, I think now that the team knows that there's an official team manager, I'm the dude to hit up with most requests or questions. So definitely a lot more communication going on, and yeah, just planning of trips. And it just kind of takes time hitting dudes up about their schedules and
Yeah.
getting every logistics,
Yeah,
getting things.
exactly.
Yeah.
Coordinating. So on the video side, is there, what's the plan? Do you guys have like a social media strategy? And, like how does looking at it from the angle of, I'm Odyssey and Sunday, what is the best use of an in-house videographer?
Well, right now we're definitely having a balance amongst product promo type videos and like short turnaround commercials,
Yep.
and then also the longer form stuff that goes on YouTube, like the Brett part,
Yep.
to where I have a lot of stuff in the works. Gary Young has a video that's going to be coming out soon.
Sick.
Julian has a video that's completely filmed aside from an ender, so that hopefully will come out soon.
Sick.
And to be honest, I'm a little bit backed up where we went to Richmond, Virginia 2 months ago, I think, and I'm going to start editing that video this week.
Just like a trip video?
Yeah. We
Dope.
went out there for Rumble in Richmond and filmed a little trip video as well.
Sick. That's where I was born. So,
Really?
yeah, interesting fact. I was born in Richmond, Virginia, and then moved to
Crazy.
Arizona when I was 11, so it doesn't really count.
Nice. I was
Um,
born in Ohio, but moved to California at 3.
at 3,
Yeah.
nice. What's
But
your
really,
like family like? You got mom and pop together and living out here in LB?
no, mom and dad, they're together. I grew up in the high desert, which Apple Valley, Victorville, it's kind of on the way to Las Vegas.
Okay.
And maybe 2 years after I moved to Long Beach to start going to school, my parents actually moved to the East Coast.
Oh, no shit.
They're in Connecticut. They've been there for 10 years or so.
Why? What's in Connecticut? Why would you leave California?
Well, my dad got a really good job offer. Basically, like they hunted him out. He works with airplanes and
Oh,
he does like test flight stuff, testing engines and whatnot.
big brain stuff.
Kind of,
Is
pretty
that
much.
is that why that's why you're big brained?
I guess, yeah,
Yeah.
genetics. If you want to say that.
You're a smart guy. I think like you mentioned that you went to film school. Like, do you think going to film school is worth it?
It depends on what you want to do, but I don't regret going. I
Okay.
am glad I went to a Cal State, so I have much less debt than I would have had I gone to, a UC or something.
Right.
And I think it's not crucial, but also I definitely learned a lot while I was there that I feel like still helps me with things while I'm editing, even things like editing interviews. I'll just remember little things they said about putting a 6 frame fade in between two audio clips in an interview.
Yes.
And just little things that I picked up that I feel like have helped me become a better editor and
Yeah.
filmmaker, if you want to put it in those terms.
Yeah. You're quite professional at making videos, and yeah, that's pretty cool. I like because like I didn't go to school for film, but I've watched enough YouTube videos to feel like I've some film student. But like watching movies and like I bet you're the same way. Like for if you're watching a movie with a girl or your girlfriend or whatever, it's hard not to say like, "Oh, look at the lighting on this. The composition is fantastic." Like
Nope. Just
looking
on
at
the
it
plane, I
from
took a
yeah.
photo of like a title sequence because I was like, this looks cool.
Nice.
And I
Yep.
can't turn it off where I'm just like things that catch my eye that I
Yeah.
want to. It's inspiration for, future stuff.
Great. So, on the filming, I mean, we're both filmer writers, and I feel like how did you start filming? What was your first camera?
First camera was a Canon. I think I might have it over here. It was a little Canon camera that wasn't even 3 CCD. It had kind of like the toggle zoom switch and
Yeah.
stuff. And
So like a little mini DV.
yeah, it
Yeah.
was, it wasn't tiny. It was pretty much perfect to start with because it did have some manual settings that kind of helped me start adjusting white balance at least,
Right.
and maybe shutter speed. But I shortly after got a VX 1000, and I feel like that's when I got really serious about things.
Yeah.
But I wanted a camera when I was like 7 because I used to skate and watch skate videos when I was a baby.
No
But I was
shit.
too young. Like my parents would not get me a camera at that age
Yeah.
because I was just too irresponsible. And then by the time I got one, it was like my To backtrack a little bit, I moved across town in 8th grade, and then the new friends I made in my new city all were like core BMX kids.
Nice.
Quarter pipe and dirt jumps in his backyard, but they would also ride street. So they like brought me in, and I pretty quickly got a bike because, like I said, I used to skate and I used to BMX when I was a little kid too, and it just felt pretty perfect.
That's dope.
There was a
That-
weird period where I had multiple friends, and some of them skated and some of them BMX, and I had to almost decide like, what am I going to do?
Which
And
one do I practice? Because it takes so much. Like, what do you think is harder to get to a, pro, not necessarily like professional, but get to a, good level of talent? Is it harder to learn skating or is it harder to learn BMX?
I think BMX, honestly. I
Why?
think skating, you can learn all of the fundamentals on flat ground, like in a driveway.
True.
Whereas with a BMX, like you got to go somewhere and you got to kind of like send it and get fucked up a little bit, trying
Yeah,
some stuff.
that's true.
Well,
And then falling is much harder on a bike than like bailing, kicking out of a skateboard, you know?
I think learning to bunny hop on a bike is probably easier than dialing in an ollie. But I think getting to where you're really proficient is probably a little bit harder on a bike, I would say.
Yeah, I can relate. Like, well, actually, I can't relate because you were able to skate. So you could ollie and shit. And I remember wanting to. Like, my neighborhood friends were skating all the time, and I was like, man, that's so cool. Let me try. And then I just fell on my ass. I think I just gave up, almost immediately. And then I was like, I need something to hold my hands on. And I had a little razor scooter, and then eventually I got a mountain bike, and then my friends showed me what's good. Cleon, he showed me some BMX videos, and I was like, okay, BMX is cool. Let's do this instead. And it's crazy. I think that's like I was thinking about that last night, and just all between all of these podcasts and talking to people, we all share the same exact story. Like you get a BMX bike at somewhere in your teens or younger, and then the thrill of learning a trick, and it just escalates from there. And the more you see and all that. I remember you hanging out with one kid in particular, but I forget his name when we first met. Who was your close homie from the desert that you guys did like videos together? Do you know who I'm
That'd
talking
be,
about?
yeah, Jake Miras.
Yeah.
He was on Stranger Grassroots with me, and we were like still
Yes.
good friends. We were the best of friends, like all through high school. And I hang out with him, like we try to get together every month or two.
Nice.
But he was like the homie that was the most dedicated, and he had like the last part in the scene videos that I made when I was in high school. He
Sick.
kind of had that style of like big threes down stair sets and
Yeah.
large gaps. And then when the Stranger Grassroots thing came along, like we both kind of got the little hookup deal together. So we
How
felt
did
like, oh,
that
huh.
work?
That was
I
honest.
remember the stranger grassroots thing. That was cool, but I don't know how it worked.
It was Rich Stranger put out a thing that was like submit your footage to become or like to basically get it reviewed to where you could potentially become part of this grassroots team, which is you get 50% off of product.
That's interesting.
And at the time, I had just released one of those scene videos that I'd mentioned. So it was like, couldn't have been better timing. And I just sent him the video of all of us.
Yeah.
And it was pretty much like me and then my homie Jake that he was stoked on. And so it was cool. Me and Jake felt like we were on Stranger together. I mean, we were on like a little flow program, but
Yeah, but still. And
any
then
recognition for things you did felt
exactly.
so
It's
sick. Yeah.
like giddy with excitement. That's
Yes.
so that was your first sponsor, and then I don't think you switched companies. I was on GT, and then I ended up talking to Rich, and he was like, "Why don't you and Ballman just come ride for Stranger?" And I was like, "Yes, okay, cool." And were you already on the team, or like, do you remember this? Like, I
Yes.
remember being on Stranger with you and doing at least one trip or two. Remind me about our Stranger days, dude.
Well, I think when you and Ballman first came to Long Beach, you guys were on GT at that time, I
Yeah.
believe. At least Ballman was, because I hadn't even really heard of him.
I was for sure because I got Ballman on as well. I brought him on, and then yeah, he came out and we worked. I remember now, like I filmed a GT part and then just a mix video for the come up,
Yeah,
going.
I forgot about that GT part where I started editing it for you, and I forget there was some issue I had. I was going to edit that GT edit for you because I
Yeah,
filmed some of the clips.
yeah.
Then at the end of the day, I think I was taking too long, and then I think you had more free time and slapped it up or something. But
I can't remember, man. I can't remember where I was when I like. Did I edit it in that apartment, or I know do recall like vaguely us sitting on the couch together looking at the footage and shit. Man, that's the best, dude.
the
Like,
Hang Five line through the fountain in Long Beach, I
yeah,
remember
yeah.
that.
You were
That
on the
was
bike filming that. That's I was thinking about that earlier, and when I knew that you were gonna come on, I was like, man, that I think it was Krejmas who filmed that.
was. And then
Dude,
shortly after you got on Stranger, I remember there was a trip to Phoenix, and I
yeah,
came out and I stayed at your place one night, and then we stayed with Zuka a
yeah.
couple
Okay, so
nights.
yeah, did we do shrooms in Zuka's backyard?
I don't know if I was there for that. Maybe you did. Not to say I wouldn't have, but
Maybe me and Charlie Crumlish and why am I blank? Craig
yeah,
Passero. That's a bonding experience, man. Just hanging out, and then I remember it was like slightly raining and whatever. That was a good trip.
there's no way I was there because by the time we got there, Craig had to fly home. Did he get hurt, or maybe he just had a shorter trip?
If I could remember, I would tell you. I can't remember. It's
That was
crazy how
good
that shit
times though.
works. Yeah,
That was like my first BMX trip filming for People versus Things.
yeah,
Just felt sick doing something for a brand. Just to have a brand like get behind you and be like, yo, we're hyped on what you're doing on your bike and here's some gas money to go to Arizona. It was
yeah.
really sick.
It's special, and not everybody gets that.
Yeah.
There's a lot of kids out there that are like, I just need like just look at me, and times are different now because back when this was happening, like the BMX media consumption was like videos on would get uploaded to Vimeo and then posted on the come up and or Vital BMX, and that was kind of it. Like Instagram was barely a thing. There was no videos on Instagram,
Yeah.
and like how did we get recognized? Like and can comparing back then to now, like you're just drowning in the amount of content that's on social media every single day. Like, how do
Yeah.
you stand out? What would you say? So you're a team manager. Like, what do you look for if you were gonna bring somebody on the team?
Well, I think longevity is a huge thing where I think you put out one part and that's your starting point as a rider, where I don't think you can drop a part and then get all these dudes knocking on your door. I think you got to show you're not a flash in the pan and like you're dedicated to finding spots and filming clips and
Yeah,
progressing with your riding and having new ideas, at least as far as street riding goes.
that's huge. I
Yeah.
remember I treated getting sponsored like a finish line instead of a starting line. I was kind of stupid in that regard, but filming, I ended up leaning into filming anyway, so that's cool. But
I think that happens with a lot of people where it's a goal, so it's like you want to reach this level, but then once you reach that, it's like that's when the job really does start.
yeah,
That's when you're getting your paycheck to now help promote this brand.
yeah, which is wild. And then the quote, I think I've said it before, but he who stops getting better ceases to be good. Like if you stop progressing, you're not going to be very good for much longer.
Yeah, it's weird. I mean, style matters a lot, how you do things.
Yeah.
I kind of dislike seeing things pulled shittily just because it's like a new trick. Like I
Yeah.
want to see things that are appealing to the eyes,
Yeah.
which it can be appealing to your brain because it's a combo that's never been performed, but like I want it to be aesthetically
And
pleasing.
smooth.
Yes,
But
yes.
not always smooth cuz like I I mean no shade, but like Mickey Fleck, I don't think of him as smooth. Like I think of him it's like a weird like not it's like beautiful sketchiness.
Yeah.
Like maybe
Smooth, but it's
yeah.
like eccentric kind of.
Yeah, just like wild. I don't know. That's
Reminds me of Jared Duncan a little bit. Just a
yeah,
very unique style. I would call him smooth, but maybe not your textbook
yeah,
like buttery.
yeah. Like
Just
Chase D
buttery in
Hart.
his own right.
Yeah, Chase D Hart is butter, and then everybody else, it's not butter.
Pretty much. What
Shit,
was the
man.
question? I feel like I missed something there.
This is yeah. My brain's all over the place. I'm looking down. So we talked about I mean, let's go back to the one of the things I wrote down here is like making the switch from VX to HD as a filmer, and that transition. When did that happen for you?
For me, that happened when I started working at Vital BMX.
Okay.
Basically, I had a VX and a little SLR that I would use for my secondary angles, and I was doing everything standard definition still. And start working at Vital BMX, and HD is the industry standard, so they immediately bought an HMC 150, and
Nice.
I think they bought me a fisheye, and I was using my same SLR.
Cool.
But pretty much, yeah. As soon as I got that job, I was thrown into the world of HD, which was so confusing.
Yeah, it's a
Shout out to
whole new world.
Navaz and Chadwick. They both helped me a lot with just understanding progressive versus interlaced,
Right. Yeah.
things I was familiar with. But you have the HMC, which only does it does like 1280 or 720p 60 frames per second, or 1080 30.
Right.
And same with the HMC, and just kind of figuring out like what formats to shoot in, how to set your sequence up,
Yep.
all that kind of stuff.
So tell me, just I'm out of curiosity, what's the difference between progressive and interlaced?
Interlaced is basically the frame is broken up into all of these horizontal lines, and interlaced, it scans all of the even lines first and then all of the odd lines, so it scans the frame twice. I think it's like the sensor in the camera is scanning things in two ways, and progressive is just a single scan,
Ah,
and
that's
it's
interesting.
cleaner, and that's
Yeah.
where you get that weird like horizontal line stuff sometimes,
Yeah.
which
Because you have
wasn't
to
familiar with.
de-interlace your footage
Exactly.
uh with whenever you're filming. That I remember like learning practically how to do that shit, but I never really understood like the science behind it, like you just explained. That's
That's one of
dope.
those film school nerd things where it's like I understand how to talk about it, but I can't understand the like computer science of why it truly looks better. But I
Yeah.
guess scanning one time makes sense that it's going to be cleaner than a 1-2.
Yeah, for real. That's so
That's
interesting. And just like it's magical that we have cameras in general, you know? We take that shit for granted, but like you're capturing so many pictures, you know? It's so like I don't know. I'm like chippy, man. Technology is crazy, dude.
every second you're shooting 30 photos.
Yeah.
It's
It's
pretty nuts.
wild. So what's like when I guess back then 720 60 would have been the priority because then you can slow-mo clips.
Yeah.
What
I
is
would
the
export.
What is the
I still
VX film
export
in native? Sorry for cutting you off. What is the?
good
It's like 30.
frames.
Yeah,
Yeah, 30p.
and then I could still ramp slow mo stuff down to like 50%, and it looks smooth. That shouldn't happen.
Yeah, I think some of them, I've heard that it's 60, but then technically standard def is 30, to where I don't need to get to the bottom of this because maybe it is shooting 60 frames, or it's just the pictures all shitty where it blends together better and it looks
Yeah,
smoother because it's not so crisp.
yeah,
Like those
because
ghosted, After Effects makes its own ghosted frames in between.
yes,
I think maybe the like poorer quality helps those fake frames look more real or consistent with the
interesting.
rest.
Did you ever, speaking of slow mo, did you ever use Twixtor?
I did not. What's that?
Twixtor was a plugin for After Effects that like generated or like filled in the blanks whenever like so you could go to 5% speed and have it look smooth because it's using the information from each frame to like generate the frames that it might be what you're talking about where it like generates the its own, it fills it in for you. I think Buster used it in like Happy Medium 3 or something like that to switch up, not just doing the traditional ramp slow mo. But anyway, yeah.
After Effects does that to an extent, but the Twixtor probably does it better.
Yeah,
Because some slow mos look fake or like too smooth, and it's probably the Twixtor thing.
yeah. It creates a weird little like bubble around the subject. Anyway,
Huh. I'll have to look
um,
into that. Another
so
thing with going HD was like going from 4:3 to 16:9
yes, that changes
composing.
everything.
It's weird. I don't think it's ideal. Where a
Yeah,
biker is a triangle.
yeah,
So
for
that
real,
fits into a square or 4:3 a little bit
a
better.
lot better.
So that was a huge thing to adjust to. But now trying to film 4:3 is strange, where I'm not used to like panning left and right as much with the fish.
Yeah, for real. The
Yes.
fisheye is where you feel the difference the most. That was a learning curve for me going HD and just like, yeah, you don't move left to right as much, but you have to go up and down to compensate and keep them in the frame.
Exactly. Yeah.
What are some tips for people out there for filming fisheye?
For filming fisheye, um, I would say think about how you're composing your shot and where the peak action is of the trick that you're trying to accent. So, like if someone's grinding a rail and then they're going to gap, I would say think about you want to show the gap. So, using a fisheye is all about using your frame. So, if someone's going to gap, they should gap from the left side of the frame to the right side of the frame so that you see the gap the whole time.
Yes.
So I think a prime example is if someone's doing a rail to gap, I would try to keep them a little more in the left side of the frame for the whole grind and then let them gap over to the right side of the frame as they leave the rail. And that just kind of like helps show the gap, I guess.
Yep.
If they're centered the whole time, you don't see them moving from the rail over the gap.
Right. That's the biggest mistake I think rookies make with fisheyes is just keeping the subject in the center the whole time. Like,
Yeah.
dude, you see some second angles of, some amateur video and the guy with the fisheye is just like pointing and the trick is going down like a stair set or whatever and he's pointing and then just following the whole thing and I'm like, "Oh, no, stop it.
Yes.
You got to use
And,
the whole frame."
and even with long lens, I try to think about the top to bottom frame size where someone's doing a drop. I try to not tilt down too much so that they land near the bottom of the frame.
Yep.
Because if they're in the middle of the frame and then you tilt down and they land near the top of the frame, they
Yeah,
went up in the frame.
yes.
You want them to
That's
drop in the
That's
frame.
interesting. I never thought about it for long lens composition. Maybe
Yep.
like subconsciously, but yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I remember learning from you how to so I nose manualed the Long Beach 3 stair stage. Thank you for your patience. That took like 4 hours.
I
But
know.
the way you filmed it and the way you explained it to me was so cool. Like you were tight on me as I'm approaching it, and then as you see me doing the nose manual, you zoom out so you can see the whole thing, and then you came back in tight once I landed it, and I was like, "That's so cool, dude." And
That's it. I remember that clip too.
is that some film school type shit, or just you had already been filming BMX for a while?
I've been filming BMX for a while and I
Oh,
nerded out. Like I would just watch BMX DVDs at my house all day until I went riding because I grew up in the high desert, so it'd be so hot in the summer.
yeah,
My summers off, I would just be watching videos until the evening and like messing with my editing of things I had filmed.
right.
But I would pause and frame by frame,
No
in
shit. Yeah,
yes,
that's awesome.
because there was an interview with Joe Cox where he said basically what I said is compose your shots and think about your framing. And then, left right came out and just the look of that video, the way things were filmed, it was just everything looked amazing. Like everything was done such justice.
For real.
So I started pausing and frame by framing and realizing, oh, he's on the very left side of the frame. He's in the middle as he gets on the rail. And now he's on the very left side of the frame and you see the whole rail. Like the top of the rails in the right corner, and then he's at the bottom left corner.
Yep,
And things like that, I would then, when I was filming my homies, try to compose my shots that way.
that's awesome. And
And I
then
think
from
that's
there,
really
it's just
what helped.
practice.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
Dude, how
then
many
like,
hours do you think you've spent behind the camera?
fuck.
Like, there's that 10,000 hour rule. I guarantee you're like, you're pushing 100,000 hours at this point.
I can't even like fathom. I would have to sit here and like write some shit down, like
Yeah.
per month. And then for 10 years that I've been doing it professionally,
Yeah.
but I mean, easily thousands of hours.
Yeah.
Like tens,
At
tens of thousands of hours.
tens of thousands for sure. I did the math once on myself and I was like, I've definitely done it over 10,000 hours. And like, that's what the cliche is like, you're not good at something until you've done it for 10,000 hours. And you and I have both been filming for way more than that, which is pretty cool.
Yes. It's crazy. I trip out sometimes just how much I'm looking at a screen
Yeah.
where I'm kind of anti-phone. I try to not be on my phone as much as possible because my job, I'll be editing, looking at my computer, answering emails. And when I'm filming, I'm looking at a screen. Everything's this far away from me.
Yeah. I feel like my vision's a little bit messed up I might have like, because you're looking through the lens like that. Do you use some blue light blockers when you're
Yep,
editing?
I do have them back there for the long sessions. I think
Yeah,
I have those very similar ones to
yeah,
those.
they're pretty good. I
They
use
do
it
help.
especially if you're editing at night and you still want to go to bed. You know.
Absolutely. That blue
Um,
light shining in your eyes, it's not good for you.
yeah.
Not too much.
What was your first job? Like, what was it? What was the first money you made from BMX?
I believe
Either filming or writing.
the very first money I ever made was from Robbie because I helped Dak film 2 clips for Talk is Cheap, which I
Sick.
believe is the
And Robbie
first
paid you
one.
for that.
He did. He gave me $50 and I was
Hell
so
yeah.
hyped. I think I
Yes.
would have turned it down now, but back then I was poor. Like I was a college kid,
50
barely
bucks
had,
was a lot back then.
dude, I remember trying to go ride and I'd have to ask people for $5 because I literally had $3 in my account,
Yeah.
like for gas money,
Yeah.
like it's crazy thinking how poor I was.
Yeah.
Not that I'm fucking big baller now, but just I'm not stressing $5 a week, so that's
Right.
nice. But
So
that was the first
that's
money I.
pretty exciting. And then what? What about like I don't know, a job? Were you selling videos to Vital during that period of time and all that? I remember maybe you did. Were you working with Tunney at ESPN and sending him videos during that period too?
I was working with Ride, some of those Monday edits that they used to do.
Yep.
I submitted. It would be for the Monday edits. I would just film whoever I could around Long Beach and just make a little mix video.
Yep.
Sell those to Ride. They paid like $100 for them, which wasn't a ton, but I needed the
Still.
money. And I was just hyped to be getting the experience, meeting people and filming with them.
Yeah.
And then I started filming stuff for Crooked World as well, which I think you actually
Yes.
helped me get in touch with Cosman
Yeah.
and did some videos. We filmed like a whole series of skate park edits at the MLK Park in Long Beach
Dope.
called the I Have a Dream edits. And that turned into like a come up Crooked World collab kind of thing.
Dude, I mean, Cosman, just real quick, he's so good at, making money.
True.
Like he's straight up business guy. We actually recorded a podcast, but his internet was so bad that we couldn't put it out. So I got to get him on again someday. But yeah, I wonder if Crooked World's still around and what happens after that for you. Like, what was the next thing? Because that's like project based. That's you film something and then you edit it and then you're like, okay, here, ride. And then I don't know, they send you $100. But what happens after that for you?
I think the first major project that really helped me kind of like establish myself was Garrett Reeves's Sunday part, where
Oh
before
yeah.
that part, I was just making mixed videos, filming random clips. I would sell stuff to BMX Union as well, just whoever I could get my videos out to.
Yep.
And me and Garrett kind of just related on a level of maybe like Cuddy street spot searching and pegless riding. And he also lived at the OSS house
That's who the missing person is. He lived there when I was there too.
a lot of people lived there. I know he moved out and then Tony Nyer moved in. So I think I hung out with him before I lived there. And then he moved out, Nyer moved in. Also, Mastroni lived there.
Yeah.
But Garrett definitely gave me my first opportunity where he wanted to work with me for his next Sunday video.
That's awesome.
Because I think he was filming with Chris Long. He did like a low tech video with Chris Long, but Chris was a full time filmer for Volume and Demolition.
Yeah.
So it's hard to be doing outside projects when you have a full plate, as I'm sure Chris did. And maybe Garrett was just hyped on the VX stuff. But it's funny, in that house, there was Mastroni, there was Chris Long, Miles Rogish was there a lot. It was like a house of filmers.
Yeah.
But I got that chance to basically produce that video for Sunday with Garrett, and I put just everything I had into that video.
It's a legendary video.
People still talk about it, which
Yeah.
it's one of my favorite videos I've ever made. I think
I love it.
as an editor, I maybe progressed a lot in that editing process with even just the quick transition cuts of like film burns that I downloaded online, but I would be matching up the colors of the film burn with like the colors that were in the clip.
Oh no shit. That's
Just putting a
cool.
lot of thought in, yeah.
Yeah.
And then I feel like that kind of proved that I could make cool videos.
Yeah.
And from there, I think Garrett and I started working on his G Sport video. And
let's,
pretty
let's
much,
linger on let's linger on this Garrett Sunday video for a second. Like,
for sure.
I mean, how clear is your memory of it? Do you remember? Because Garrett's writing is the type of shit where it's like, holy shit, like you're gonna do what, and then
Yes.
do you remember a scary moment or like a victorious moment? What's your favorite part of that Garrett Reeves video and just Garrett Reeves in general?
I think one of my favorite parts were I think I learned a lot from Garrett as far as spot searching and just conceptualizing how to use something that you see and how to ride your bike and get a clip on it. Where he's someone that really liked to milk his immediate surroundings. Like, sure, we went to Pasadena, we did some missions locally, but I think the majority of that part was filmed in Long Beach because he would just lurk around and just find stuff that was right under our noses and film the craziest shit on it.
Yeah, the shit that like you wouldn't think is a spot, but Garrett's writing turns it into a spot. Like
Yeah, you would there'd be like a wall with a 90-degree angle and he'd want to start on top and then drop down into a pocket wall ride.
so crazy, dude.
Yeah, just weird shit like that. And then as for victory moment was definitely him getting his ender, which was that big acid drop into like the steep, skinny bank, pretty much a caveman or ninja drop.
Yeah,
That shit was just gnarly. Like I was definitely scared filming that, but
yeah,
he did it first tee and he landed really low on the bank. It was couldn't have
heavy.
dropped further.
I
It was
love it. I miss Garrett's writing. I don't know like what he's up to lately. Do you know? Do you stay in touch with him, Garrett Reeves?
not super consistently. I haven't chatted with him in over a year or more. But from what I see, he definitely spends a lot of time in Colorado and also Hawaii. And I know he's gotten into a lot of holistic healing type of stuff and more, I guess, spiritualism and things like that. He was always a thinker.
Yeah,
Even when we were like 21, he was thinking about wanting to own a house because he's wasting his money paying rent.
yeah,
Or at that age, I'm like, what are you talking about?
yeah.
21, you know? But I mean,
For real though.
he definitely puts a lot of thought into stuff. But I
So
need to reach out to him.
Garrett Reeves is a genius. I hope he's doing well. And he's just living his best life. If he's in Colorado and Hawaii, no fuck with that. So then, all right, what was working at Vital like? Is that like a full-time gig or just, here and there type stuff? Like were you making a living back then?
That was a full time gig. I had cheap rent, which if I didn't, it would have maybe been more of a struggle to make ends meet. But
What was cheap rent?
I was living in a house owned by my girlfriend's brother and his fiance, and we were renting a room there for probably like $600. I was paying like 300 or 400 a month.
Damn.
Because
In
my
California?
salary in California,
In
yeah,
Long Beach, you're living for $300 a month. That's fucking fire.
it was amazing. In a nice house with like a backyard. I was like, oh, I've made it. But now I
Yes.
was just getting hooked up. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Amazing. How long were you at Vital? And who got you that job? Like, was it through Kyle Carlson?
yes and no. Basically, I had just graduated from film school here in Long Beach, and I was just sending my resume out to like post production facilities because my plan was to be an assistant editor and work my way up to becoming an editor full time. And it just felt like the clear cut route that I was headed for. Strangely, it felt like working in the BMX industry was impossible. Like I didn't know how to get a job. All the jobs were taken, it felt like.
Yeah.
There were so few of them. Whereas coming from film school, it just felt like, oh, here's these websites that post all these jobs.
Right.
Send my resume in and I'll get one of these jobs eventually. And at that same time, Vital posted they needed a full-time web management person to work for them who could also maybe make some little videos here or there. And basically I met like all the requirements and every single plus. I think they were looking for someone more for website management, but I came in and I could do that and produced videos.
Sick.
And I just applied for that job. I had never met Kyle before. And
Nice.
yeah, it turned out I was like the best candidate that applied, I guess. And
Amazing. What does that mean, web management?
it was posting videos on their website. Vital also had a blog. I'm kind of like, for lack of a better word, it was like message boards.
Yeah.
So I would kind of help facilitate some of that and post some topics to get kids talking. And basically every day I would get, 5 posts up on their main page with the description, the thumbnail, link
Nice.
it to their Facebook. And then I would go out and film a bike check with whoever. And I would film like those dance comp vital videos.
Yeah.
Because they'd have an ad deal with Dance Comp to produce edits with their team guys. So I would film with Morgan Long, Tony Nyer, local dudes. I got to film one with Chase D, which was within my first year working there. I got sent to Jersey, stayed with D Hart at his house, and filmed a video with him. It was like my mind was blown. I couldn't believe it.
Yeah, that's amazing.
One of my favorite riders. I'm just hanging out with him, seeing all his old spots.
Yeah.
All the spots he filmed at.
And that you've seen in videos for years. Yeah.
Yes. It was surreal.
What was it like hanging out with Chase D for a week?
So sick. He's so chill.
Yeah, he
is so accommodating. And I feel like me and him have a similar outlook, obviously, because he influenced my outlook. And so anything he's hyped on, I'm hyped on. And
yeah,
it was pretty mellow. Just kept it pretty local. And he showed me a lot of just the local hometown spots.
That's dope.
Yeah. I think he's another one like Garrett that's really milked his own surroundings.
Yeah.
To where a lot of his old parts, you would see some of the same spots, and they were all kind of his hometown area stuff.
Yeah, that it makes me think of there's some, I don't know if they're iconic, but there's clips of Chase D Hart that stick out in my mind where it's like it seems like it's a school and he's doing stuff like around the corner of a school, and there's like blue tables that he's doing shit on, and just like not so much a spot, but he's doing stuff that's like, making it a spot, using your immediate surroundings to get a line going. So can you
visualize? That's what he took me to.
So
you know exactly on the brick wall, and then he comes and he does the manual 180 on the bench.
Yes.
Around. He took me there.
That's awesome.
Like, this is the fucking spot. What?
This is it. This is the place.
Yeah, it was so cool.
Hell yeah. And then they bought you a camera. That's pretty rad, man. I didn't know that.
Well, they owned the camera, but yes, they paid for a camera for me to use. Oh. So otherwise, I didn't have money to. Sure, I could have taken out a loan and bought a camera, but it worked out where they were like, "You're a full-time employee of ours. We can purchase this camera for you to use."
That's great.
Yeah.
How long were you there?
I would say a year and some change.
When is this? 2010?
2013, I would say. 13 to 14. No, 2012 to 13. Because I just reached my 10-year mark of like working professionally in the industry.
Nice.
Which would mean I started there in 2012.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, happy 10 years of working in the BMX industries, Krejmas. That's fucking awesome.
Thanks, man.
Vital's a good job. So what happened after that?
Well, obviously, me and Z were always homies since way before that job. We had been filming the doorstep video together, and I already felt kind of close to Ride BMX. I had done an internship there where I helped post on their website.
I remember that. Yeah.
They were like my friends,
Yeah.
And I think after being at Vital for a year, I kind of proved like that I could do these things at the least. And I think I was at Simple Session, and Fudger asked me if I'd ever be interested in working for Ride, and I immediately said yeah. Because also Vital, was aimed at a younger audience, and not every rider was the most excited about like going in for a part for a Vital part.
Yeah. Yeah.
That makes sense. Like the dance comp parts were one thing because they had their sponsor Dance Comp making them produce those. But as soon as I started working at Ride, me and Brian Kaczynski made a video in the high desert, like at all the spots I grew up riding. And I think he even said like he just was a little less excited about making it happen for Vital. But then once I was at Ride, it was like green light.
Sick. Yeah, so Ride was holding it down. I think that's, credit to Fudger and Z for keeping it, core,
For sure. We went to Jersey and made this little animal video shortly after I started there.
That's great.
It was cool. There was a lot going on there. I mean, amongst those things, there was like the Monster Ramp series. I don't know if you remember that.
I do remember the Monster Ramp series, yeah.
That, and then definitely working at a media outlet, there's a lot of contest coverage that goes on.
Yeah.
But yeah, between that stuff and the website management, it was pretty full load, full schedule.
What do you think about filming contests? I'm sure you've done it, obviously, right?
Yeah. As of I enjoy being there, and now that I'm at Full Factory, it's enjoyable. But when I worked at Ride, I think in the first couple years with Vital and Ride, I enjoyed it because it was just so exciting to be at this event where all of the very best riders are doing all this crazy shit and it's just all happening. And you're the one that's been entrusted to document all of it. It was maybe like pleasing my ego in some way that I've been
Yeah.
entrusted with this important job.
You're just like, Lolo, me? I'm out here?
But over time, dude, it's exhausting.
It
Doing
sure
it
is, dude.
because you're filming all day in the sun and then you got to edit that video that night. You got to
Immediately.
get it out as soon
Yeah.
as possible. And then you got
Yeah.
to do it the next day.
I don't think people realize how hard you have to work to cover an event and do it properly. Because, like, if you don't get it out first, then, everybody's watching the other person's coverage, You
And the
have to,
algorithm
like,
takes off.
yeah, you got to be quick. What's your, like, most memorable contest that you filmed?
I think that simple session, I want to say that's the only one that I filmed. And it was just one of the first like huge contests that I filmed. And even just the whole experience of being there and there's all the nightlife stuff going on. And
And
it
you're
just
like,
felt
sorry, guys,
surreal.
I got to stay in and edit.
Back then, I was doing a better job of slamming shit out and like still making it out.
Nice.
I would have to go to the club much later than everyone else, but
Yeah.
I was just like running on no sleep, just doing the most I could. And
Living.
for a while, that definitely wore on me. And I think maybe I just stopped caring about going out as much.
Yeah.
You get a girlfriend, and you're just like, some contests can be more work than others if there's multiple events. Like I might go to a feast and there's a flatland practice and a park practice, so then you have two
That's a
videos
lot.
to go through.
Yeah.
So
Man,
you're
just the tediousness of going through all the footage too at the end of the day. It's so hold on, this is a crazy side note, I guess, but you mentioned earlier you were living for $300 because your girlfriend's something or other. Is this the same girlfriend?
no, that was an ex-girlfriend.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
But you do have a girlfriend now.
I do have a girlfriend now. Yes, we have
How
our own apartment together with a couple cats,
excellent.
all domesticated now. Yeah.
We can I'm jumping all over. Let's get into that later. But
Sure.
so from let's see, we're working at where are we now?
We
Ride
were at
BMX.
Vital and then we made the switch. Yeah, we're working at Ride for a period of time there.
Okay, and then what?
And then basically Full Factory kind of put out this job posting that they were looking for an in-house videographer.
Did Ride BMX go under before you left, or like this is like timing? When did Ride BMX quit?
After I left, maybe
Okay,
like 6 months later or something.
that's why they quit. They're like, we don't have Krejmas anymore. It's over.
There's no way.
There's no way we can
Timing.
continue.
No, there's no way that's why it happened.
That's 100% why it happened.
The timing was insane for sure.
Oh,
But basically, the whole time I worked at Ride, I went to film school, and to go back, my dream job was to work for a BMX company and keep filming BMX videos because that was all I wanted to do with my time.
yeah,
I was in college and I just kind of felt like, well, I don't know how to do this, but I need a job to start paying off this student debt I've racked up.
right.
So I was applying to the post production facilities, like I was mentioning. But
I heard that like editing at a post production facility in LA is like $500 a day type job. That
yeah,
I was like, that sounds pretty cool. When I was like in between jobs a couple of years ago, I started talking to somebody out there. I almost moved out to LA to do a editing job at one point. Anyway, so Full Factory, they put out
yes.
an ad, and then you send an email and get the job.
Some, not exactly, but what I was getting at is I always wanted to just focus on filmmaking and making the best videos I could. And when I was at Ride and Vital, it was half of my job was to make cool videos, and the other half was all of this website management
Yeah,
and social media management. And you have 15 brands that advertise at Ride, and you're the point of contact, and you're just getting
that's a
bombarded
lot.
all day with post this on Instagram, post that, and your brain is like, you can't focus in on the video
Right.
same. So yeah, when I saw that full factory in-house videographer position, I was like, this is my dream, is to just be a filmer for a brand. Like I want to go on trips, make DVDs. Everything that was cool about BMX that brought me into it is DVDs and full-length parts.
Right.
And like that was all I ever cared about before working in the media realm. And so I couldn't help but apply for it, which at first Nuno, marketing manager, reached out and asked me if I knew of anyone that might qualify for that position. And I forget, I might have thrown a name or two out. But, after kind of thinking about it, it was like, I want this job. But it was a really hard thing to do because I'd worked at Ride for 4 years, and it becomes part of your identity sometimes where
Right.
like I'm the Ride dude. Like everyone hits me up for
Yeah.
everything I do there. And it was definitely strange. But I'm glad I made the switch because like I was just over all the website management stuff, and it's not really what I wanted to be doing 100% of the time.
Right. Good for you.
And
And it,
then yeah, the Ride shit happened, and it was like I'm extra glad I made the switch because that would have been so stressful.
this is the most recent one, obviously, because you're still there. Is this 4 years ago? Is that what you
Yeah.
said earlier?
Yep. 4 years now. It's flown by.
That's wild.
I think the pandemic 2 year condensed and felt like a year or something. We all lost track of time there.
That's true. The world has gone mad.
Yeah.
So that's
Time is a construct.
and it's funny. My brain, yes, time is a construct, and we are all just vibrations and energy. And what is the meaning of life? I keep thinking that you live in Austin because of the connection with Odyssey and them. That's where their headquarters is. No,
Well, we have the main office is in California, in Norwalk, and that's where the warehouse is. So that's where a lot of
with
the
all the
product.
ramps in the backyard and stuff.
Yes.
Never been there, but cool.
Stop by
Okay.
sometime.
Yeah.
And then Austin, there is the design office, and there are some sales people there, but it's a much smaller operation. There's
Okay.
5 employees there, maybe 7 max.
What about rider wise? I think, yeah. Do you plan on moving to Austin? Why is this stuck in my head? That I've asked you literally like 7 times in the past year. Do you live in Austin?
There was a period I really wanted to move to Austin, but
Yeah.
no, I don't live there, and I don't know if I'll be moving there anytime soon, if ever. But half of the team is there, and the other half is kind of spread throughout Southern California.
Yeah. I think location wise, California is where you got to be for this small BMX industry.
We can film year round at least. I mean, you can in Austin, but it's
God,
brutal.
it's so beautiful. So my boss right now, he has a house out in Santa Monica,
Uh-huh.
Marina Del Rey, and just being out there for a couple days, and then I was like, this is so beautiful. It's like you have to actually wear long sleeves at night type thing. And then coming back to Arizona, maybe 3 weeks ago, I was legitimately depressed for 2 days. I was like, this is unbearable. I can't live in this heat anymore. It's kind of crazy.
You get used to it.
Yeah, you do get used to it, and you just stay inside. I feel bad for my dog. Like, middle of the day, there's no chance. I take him out and pick him up to carry him across the concrete and then put him in the grass so that he can take a shit.
Damn. Not burning his little paws.
Yeah. And you can see, like, it's very obvious. He's like, frantically moving around to stop his paws from being burnt.
Inhospitable conditions out there.
Inhospitable, unbearable, man. But
Inhabitable.
the winter is dope. And when it's like Arizona season for BMX companies, like I love it because every team usually makes a trip during the winter to come out to Arizona because we got the best weather in, January, February.
Yeah. I do love coming out there. There's so many cool spots and a sick scene.
And yeah, it's a pretty cool scene. It's changed a lot in the past, however many 12 years. Like Drew being gone makes me sad, but the scene is sick here right now. Like burning up. We got Zach Beerley. He's like moving. He's making moves. Nick Bonnell. It's Chandler and Brain. They're on it right now. They both got out of prison and just like channeling all their crazy energy into BMX, which is pretty cool.
Good.
And then like there's pockets of it that I don't even know that much about, but some park riders in Goodyear that are crazy good, and yeah. I said Nick Bonnell, OGs, Clay and Robbie.
Yep.
Joey Mata still lives here, legendary Joe.
What's he doing these days?
He's like doing gardening. So he's got his own company. He pulled up like last week because Westcott was in town, and he pulled up in a big box truck, like so that he invested in a box truck so that he can move his tropical fruit trees everywhere. Like
Sounds like Joey.
he is a green thumb, and that's his whole thing. He's busting his ass. He just got married, which is crazy, and yeah, they don't. I can't tell if he was joking, but he's married, but they don't live together. I'm pretty confident. So, I'm like, hell yeah, Joe.
In the same town or no?
Yeah.
Wait,
living in the same town, just not living together. Joey's a mystical man. Who knows?
We'll have to dig deeper on that one.
Yeah, for real. And I'm, blanking on. I can't name every rider in Arizona right now, but Troy Blair, love him. I'm trying to think who rides the most. It's definitely Nick Bonnell is out there getting it the most. Shout out to Alex Lochner and Everyday Crew, Kyle, Biker Dude. Shout out to Biker Dude just for fun. I don't know. We got a good little scene out here, but the summertime is really fucked. We get out every Sunday, not every Sunday. It's it. I bail a lot of times on Sundays because I'm just depressed in the summer. I don't want to go out in the heat. But you have to get out at like 5:30, 6 a.m. to have a good 2-hour session of like tolerable weather, and then it's just unbearable after that. There was a period of time where I was, I didn't have like a wake up early type life, so I was staying out late working on light works, like we're just lighting up spots and literally staying out until the sun comes up because that's the only way you can do it in the summer in Arizona.
Yeah.
But life is not that way anymore. So if I'm gonna do a nighttime mission, I gotta be done at 9:30 so I can come home and go to bed.
Getting old, I guess.
What's your like schedule like? What time do you go to bed? What time do you wake up?
I usually go to sleep around 10 most nights. Like 11 would feel like a little bit later.
Yeah.
Like
we are 32 years old.
Yeah, I usually get up around 7:20, 7:30 because if I'm working at home, I pretty much work like starting at 9 and I do a day till 5:30 on my computer.
Yeah. Just like
editing and just emails. Definitely just a lot of communication about things happening in the company. And
let's talk about Dawn of the Streets. You were there, right?
Yeah, I was there, man. It was epic. It was my first Dawn of the Streets, and it was so much fun.
Paint me a picture. What was it like for those of us? I mean, we can all see the video, but tell me something. Tell me something about it.
I think the sheer size of the crowd and how many riders are really there, like I would say close to 1,000 riders are pedaling through Manhattan, just taking over traffic, just running through every red, and the cars cannot do anything. Cops can't do anything. They had to they started helping us block streets off, maybe for safety because we're
so sick.
It was sick. And then as far as the riding, this year there was the spots were a little bit spread out, so we were like mobbing like 3 miles from one spot to the next.
That's like fun though, especially through the city, man. That's incredible.
Such an experience, unforgettable for sure. And then the spots were huge, like everything was gnarly. And I feel bad. There were some kids there were 3 ambulances called throughout the day.
Oh wow, I saw the one, but I didn't know that there was 3. Holy shit.
And I think at least 2 of the kids were part of the same crew, like they knew each other, and they left with smiles on their face. They were stoked. But we were almost chatting a little bit of like, maybe there could be a bouncer that's kind of like, you see a kid jump down the set super loose. Maybe you got to kind of bounce them out like, yo, like this is a little above.
You gonna hurt yourself, kid.
Not to be rude, but like.
Stop it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because being in front of that many people, there's definitely going to be a kid who's never jumped down a 20 stair that's going to try, It's just, send it. I want some attention.
Yeah. There was one kid jumping down the set and straight from the bunny hop, he's crooked in the air.
Oh no.
And then a narrow set, and it's like just watching him come down, just praying like that he's
gonna die. So were you guys there for like a work trip?
It was, yes. We stayed a few extra days. We're filmed for a little edit, kind of like a New York. We stayed in Jersey City actually, so kind of an East Coast trip video for Sunday.
Dope.
It was officially a Sunday trip, yeah. And then also Aaron Ross was out there. We got him on the mic. I don't know if you saw the Swamp Fest coverage we did with Aaron interviewing everyone, but
Yeah.
we're doing one of those for Dawn of the Streets as well. So it should be.
Fuck yes. Aaron Ross interviewing people at Dawn of the Streets.
Yeah.
Ooh, that's going to be good. That's not out yet, right?
No.
Cool.
And I think it's just a cool perspective, and you really get a sense of like everyone's personalities and what it's kind of like to be there and chat with everyone, because
yes,
you're going to see the coverage, you're going to see the highlights,
right.
and
Like
that's
everybody sees the crazy tricks, but yeah, I love that, man. Like that's like
so to provide a little something extra there.
That's like a old school props thing. You're bringing personality back to BMX, which is like kind of missing because right now it's all just like, crazy trick posted on Instagram, and then not much of talking or whatever. Dude, that's awesome. I'm so excited. And on top of that, that's not a video that you have to like rush and put out immediately right after the event like other highlight videos are. That's great, man. I'm looking forward to that. What else can I look forward to coming from Krejmas?
Did I mention Gary Young has a video that is going to be this year?
Oh, wait, before we move on from the Aaron Ross thing, what is your setup for that microphone? Do you have like what kind of mic, and what did you use to film? What's your gear check right now?
I filmed the interviews with an A7S III, which I just got.
Sick.
Prior to this, I had the original A7 I.
Yep.
Which worked out, but we just stepped our game up, kind of particularly for product promos with everything being vertical now.
Yep.
4K is very useful.
Yep.
Like, yes, you can turn your camera sideways, but sometimes you kind of want room to crop and make it's like composed perfectly.
And the A7S III just can rip. Like you can do, I think 4K 120, maybe. I have the camera. Yeah. Pretty confident you can do that.
That's what I'm shooting all the commercials in. And the focus tracking as well, where it's
so fast
focus for you. It's so good for product stuff, especially.
Yeah, I love that camera.
Yeah, but I filmed the interviews with that, and I bought a Rode mic, and we got the flag on it with the Odyssey logos.
Okay.
It's official.
Let's see it.
It's over here. One sec.
Everybody have a gander at Krejmas's room. We got Christian Bale. Is that American Psycho? And then a VX over there.
VXs?
Is that some sort of workout contraption you got there?
Where?
Next to your, what's that contraption to the left? Or like over by your closet.
Oh yeah, that's a little bicycle. That's
nice.
My girlfriend uses that more than I do.
Working on your fitness.
Yes, sir. But yeah, I got a Rode mic. It's not one of the best ones, but I think the
that's plenty good. Yeah, that makes it.
The flag makes it.
That's great. I want to get one of those. How much was that mic?
I think around $100, maybe less.
Wow, I gotta get one just for because that is a whole vibe. Holding a microphone like that, like man on the street type content like that.
Exactly. And there's a flag that's this cheap plastic thing that comes up like this.
Yeah.
But this one was like $20 more, but it's so worth having.
Yes.
This. It just feels so much more official.
And that's dope.
And then I just use my little clip-on lav mic so that at least there's not a wire from the camera to the microphone.
So wait, clip-on lav mic? So
I have like the receiver.
Oh, so yeah, that's just a prop, that mic you're using?
No, I plug into this, but then instead of plugging this into the camera, I have like a wireless transmitter and receiver.
Oh, okay.
So that the wire goes to his pocket.
Okay, got it. Yeah, that makes more sense. I thought you were like putting a lavalier microphone on him as well as the holding it, and I'm like, that's confusing. That's too much.
Yeah, that'd be a lot. Although you could get like background audio with the lav mic, maybe, and then some shit.
Where were we, man?
I think we're talking about what's coming up next.
Yeah, what's
I think I mentioned the Richmond, Virginia video. Yeah. And then there's going to be this video from our trip to Dawn of the Streets. Gary Young has a video that's pretty much, we're done filming. It's time to start working on the video for sure.
Sick.
And those are kind of the three things that need to be edited ASAP.
Cool.
Yeah. And other than that, I mean, I'm still working on projects with Julian, Sealy, Elstrand. There's also a lot of random footage I've been sitting on that might be turning into some kind of Sunday mixtape, more so of the California people.
Cool.
And also Julian, he kind of films with people in Austin, and he's sending me footage a lot of times. So
Dope.
there might be kind of a mashup of Austin and California Sunday
I
dudes.
love it. We got a lot to look forward to from Odyssey and Sunday. What kind of music do you like? What have you been listening to lately?
I have a pretty wide range of stuff I like, to where I'll listen to some kind of mellow jazz. I like a lot of funk and soul, but I also like a lot of 90s rap and hip hop, where I'll be
Cool.
listening from anything from like Astrid Gilberto to Nas.
Cool. I don't know what the first one is, but
She's
I'll look it
a
up.
Brazilian like samba jazz artist. I
Nice.
feel like you would recognize, you've probably heard some of her stuff. I'll send something over to you.
Nice. Yeah, do that.
Yeah, I think definitely more of like, I think my mom has really contributed to my musical taste, but she was very much into like funk, disco.
Cool.
And my dad was into jazz, but I just remember listening to a lot of Michael Jackson growing up, and uh Sade, fucking.
Jazz is big brain music.
It's funny because I hated it as a kid, and when my dad would listen to it, but now I'm into it.
Same. I think when you're younger, you're like, what is this? It's too much. Get out of here. But there's something magical about it. Cleon's dad is a jazz guitarist, and he's pretty rad.
That's
Um, okay, I wrote down here, this is an idea. Are there any unspoken rules of BMX that are followed that you can think of? Like, yeah, that's just a random question I thought of. Like on a trip or out filming, what are some unspoken rules, if you can think
I
of any?
I think as a rider, it's like you want to respect other people's riding and their abilities. And I guess the most obvious one that would come to my mind is like not one-upping someone's clip in a session, at least on a filming trip. Like if someone does the hanger up the rail and worked for it, and they're like hyped on that clip for themselves,
Yeah, don't hanger
in hanger
180
180,
it. Yeah,
don't do that. Like
yeah,
just find another rail to do it on, because it
yeah.
cancels out their clip kind of stuff.
That's true. That's good etiquette.
Yeah. Otherwise, I don't know about rules, but there's definitely etiquette where I try to not like force people into trying stuff. As a filmer,
Yeah,
I try to like be very respectful of someone's abilities, and I'm just never trying to talk someone into doing something dangerous.
for
Maybe I
real.
just have that on my conscience if something happens, but
Yeah, they have to want to do it. It's not you pressuring them. You know who
100%.
I think Dustin Arp is a pressurer. He's like, come on, pussy, come on, pussy, you could do it.
Yeah, I can't.
Which
The
is,
common dudes would be saying that to themselves a lot. And
yeah,
I'd be like, bro, if I was the rider and someone's calling me a pussy, I could not deal with that.
yeah, for real.
Or at least, I don't know, maybe it would make me want to do it more, but I'm not trying to force that. I'm not trying
I,
to be on the other side of that.
Back in the day when I was younger and didn't have like any perspective on like the dangers of it, I was fresh. I would strongly encourage people. You can do this. This is dope. You should do it. And it's just something that like you could literally die on. But fuck it. And as I'm getting older, I'm like I'm not pressuring anybody to do anything. You have to want to do it, and I'm here for it.
Yes.
If
Don't
anything,
get me
I'm like
wrong, though.
giving you an out. I'm like you don't have to do this.
I will always say that.
Yeah.
Like someone's stressing it, especially young riders, because they might feel pressure where it's like, I put it out there. There is no pressure. It's for you to do.
Yeah.
But with that said, I do think other people who I've worked with for a long amount of time, Brock comes to mind. I feel like I have a pretty good grasp on his abilities, and sometimes I might make suggestions because
But
I feel like I know you could do this.
yeah.
But I think it's less along the lines of like, do this gnarly shit that's dangerous and might put you in harm's way, but maybe more of like your skills your skills you could use to achieve this.
Yeah. You
trick.
know, one of the first things that comes up when you Google Zach Krejmas is Brock's pro part from 6 years ago, and it
Nice.
still is so good. Like it did not age at all. Like the shit Brock did in that video is unreal.
It
Uh,
is timeless, just big gap, big whips, and
it's beautiful and just tech, and it's
true.
Brock's one of the best riders of all time for sure.
I think
So
so.
you've spent a lot of time with him.
Yeah.
What's what's your favorite thing that you've seen him do in person? I'm sure you've seen a lot, but what's a Brock Rayford memory that you have?
I think one of the most impressive things, maybe because it's like an NBD, is the backwards pegs to full cab over the rail. It was
Mm-hmm.
his last clip in his Welcome to Sunday video, but he just did it so perfectly. And it's kind of something like he's probably one of the few people that could pull that off. And I was just hyped to see him take that trick to like the next level.
What video did you say it's in? Brock Rayford, what?
Welcome to Sunday. It was a flat white rail.
Is it
That
one in
clip stood
Arizona?
out to me just conceptually because that's Buck to do that. And he did it perfectly.
I'll share my screen with you real quick.
Hell yeah. Also, his Ender and Finer Things stands out to me.
That was okay. What was his ender and finer things? Let's see.
Is the
Hold on.
crank arm.
Crank arm gap bar. Okay, let's go
Yes.
back a little bit more. Here we go. Bro, I forgot about that.
That's
That's
nuts. I don't think I've seen
NBD
anyone.
and never will be done again. That's
I
pretty
don't.
cool.
Yeah. I mean, just hard cab is
Ooh.
ridiculous. Hard cab
Man.
over itself is nuts, but adding the full cab, insane.
He's
And then yeah,
a specimen, bro.
yes, it's cool seeing where his riding, kind of like the evolution of where his riding is going, where he has all this power and skill, and he's really dialing
Oof.
in one of his eye for like what he's doing conceptually, like how he's using spots, and
What was this
he's.
like this day, this crank arm bar? Were you there?
I was there. I filmed this angle,
Yeah.
and funny story, I kind of broke my ankle before that. It was like Ender Day for the video. And I went to try to get mine. Sadly, it didn't work out. Rocks did. But it was kind of stressful, or at least like that setup is no joke. And that shed is right where you land.
Yeah.
Like you have to cut left or right. And he kind of just handled it like a boss. I think he did some pegs. He might have crank armed it once or twice. And I believe maybe he threw the bar once and like slipped a hand, but I think he might have like first throw caught it and
Beautiful.
pulled out. It
So
was
you're sitting down there with a broken ankle holding the camera?
thinking back, I would have like went home and iced it. Like my
Yeah.
ankle was fucked. But it was I was in the Mastroni's van, and it was
Yeah,
like
you're
I
in
wasn't
it.
expecting him to turn around and drive me home either.
Yeah.
I don't think I could have afforded to like Uber myself home. So I was just
You got to push through it. Fuck
pushed
it.
through for the day. And I got to be there for the ender of the video and Brock's part, which was definitely special.
Beautiful. Have you been in touch with Mastroni? What's
Here
he up
and
to lately?
there, I was stoked to be able to be part of helping him out with some Sunday product. It
That's
kind of went
dope.
full circle where he's the one that got me on volume after
Yeah.
the Stranger stuff happened. And now I was able to get him hooked up with Sunday stuff.
Yeah, it seems like he's on a rebirth mode right now. Like he's out, or at least on Instagram it seems like it. And I think there's a part. Did a part already come out
Yeah,
of
the
Mastroni?
dig part, it's called Industrial Eyes. It's
Yeah,
all
yeah, yeah, yeah.
industrial spots. It's
Yes.
so good.
That's beautiful.
He worked on that for maybe 3 years. He sent me a timeline like years before it came out.
Talk about like a spot guy. Mastroni is legendary with his spots, you know?
Is dude.
He's a real artist.
I think
Real
Mastroni and Garrett Reeves like really made me who I am with as far as spots go and
That's
just
dope.
caring so much about the spot.
Yeah.
Even with my riding, like yes, I want to learn tricks and do new tricks, but what gets me hyped about a clip is the spot and how it gets used.
Yes.
Almost to the extent of if someone else films something on a setup I found, it's like I'm less excited about filming on it.
Yeah.
Like for my clips, it's the trick and the spot of like that make the clip look like what it looks like.
So how do you have like a spot book? I know a lot of people have like, I don't know, in their a folder of photos on their iPhone with locations tagged on them. Some people have like uh, a poster on the wall with push pins in it. How do you track spots?
I have a few different ways of doing it. I have an Instagram account that's private and it's a little more for my personal stuff I'm trying to ride. And it's
Okay.
mostly Long Beach stuff, like cutty spot stuff.
Let me
And a lot
let
of
me get
that is
the let me get that Instagram after this, you know?
for sure.
Just
So
kidding, go
there's
on.
that. But for the riders, I use Apple Maps guides where you can drop pins and name them specific things.
Cool.
And that just helps me with anywhere that I am, I can look around and see what might be near it. So if I zoom out on my map,
Yeah.
you see all the red
Oh
dots.
yeah, look at all that. Oh, you got spots, dude.
Yeah, it helps. And then obviously I have the places album. So if I take a photo of a spot, it'll kind of show where that is.
Right, yeah. That's what I've had it to like I accidentally started I didn't intentionally start doing that, but I'm at a spot, I take a picture and then like in the future I go and I like you can see the map of where all your photos are and cuz I would legit I've been to a spot 7 times and I still forget like where it is in Phoenix and so I have to, zoom out, look in and hopefully find it. Like I know it's in this area somewhere and I feel like I have touched, but the barely beginning to know the spots of Phoenix, and I've been in this world for 15 years. It's kind of crazy because it's
You
just
filmed a
it's
lot of them
infinite.
too.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
filmed at so many spots that I forget where they are. I'm like hitting
Yeah.
up John Mata all the time. Like, where's this at again? I know I've been there, but
I
um,
think that happened to me, and I started just like, all right, I get obsessive about dropping pins sometimes.
yeah,
Sometimes I'll be slipping, and it's also I'll be watching skate videos and I'll see the street sign, and I'm just like, if I like the spot, I can't help but search, and if I see it, I drop the pin, and
yes,
maybe one day we'll be over there and check it out, you know.
yeah, that's fire.
But yeah,
That's
it's
part of the job, dude. It's part of the whole. I mean, I slack on it, but it's part of like you're a professional. I don't have to be a professional. I'm just amateur stuff now.
as a filmer, you got to at least like try to be helpful and provide some spots.
Yeah.
It's also the rider's job too to kind of like have some ideas of what they might want to ride, in my
Yeah.
opinion.
I'm a
It
big
can be
fan of
hard for
like
the
make
filmer
a
to like
list.
for the rider to make a list.
Yeah. I
Yes.
think so that we can, check shit off. I don't know. There's two different vibes of filming. There's like going out with the boys and just pedaling around and then whatever happens happens, but then there's also mission style where it's like I'll come pick you up, let's go here and try this, Like I kind of like the mission style a little bit more, especially now that I'm older and I can't, or more not necessarily older, but busier. So like I don't have time to go spend all day hanging out and just cruising around. I gotta like let's go get it done. I got 3 hours to film. Let's make the most of it.
I feel it. I like both for different reasons. I think sometimes it's crucial to plan the mission. Some clips you can't just stumble on it and get it done.
Right.
But then there's something about the soul of just having a day with the dudes, and you're
Yeah, I
gonna
know.
come
It's
up
the
on something
best.
and you're gonna be ready to do it.
Yeah.
And it's gonna be less stressful as well.
Yeah. And that's how a lot of like pro riders want to do it. Like Lewis Mills, his Lewis fiending video. But Ben was telling me that was the entire video was all just let's go pedal around the city and see what happens. Like no plans. And like intentionally I thought that was interesting. They intentionally did it during like busy hours so that there's, life in the background of each clip, which is I thought was pretty cool.
That is really sick.
That's some real artist shit. That's Lewis Mills input on that.
That's dope. I mean, he is an artist in all aspects,
For real.
as his been.
All right, what do we got here? What clip are you most proud of
That I've filmed.
you riding?
Most proud of.
Besides the one that's coming out with the rail hop and the 180.
That's definitely one of them. Another one would be I did a fakie wall ride down like a 7 stair way back in the day. It was in my like stranger grassroots video thing.
That's dope.
But at the time it was a trick. I think I saw little Jeff do it, Jeff Coxis,
Yeah.
on a flat wall. But then I did it down a stair set and it just felt like
That's
I was
sick.
contributing something to the culture by like taking a move and elevating it a little bit.
Yeah.
And a lot of people remembered that clip and would mention it to me, and it just felt special. Like I wasn't just emulating something that's been done before. I mean, I was, but I was trying to step it up a little bit too.
Yeah, that's fire.
That's definitely one of them. I did a manual to tail whip in that thing as well, which I've never done one since.
Nice.
That sticks out a little bit. Honestly, I think I don't know about single clip, but my finer things part in general, I think is one of my favorite parts.
Yeah, dude. I just watched that. Um, that one of my favorites in that is there's two red benches, and you do like there was one clip. All right, three clips. The two red benches, the 180 fakie to where your tires are on both benches. That was dope. The fast plant to 180 nose bonk, and then a couple of clips before those clips. There's a really quick clip, but it's like foot plant, nose mail, nollie up something, just like real tech and just like in the middle of the part. And I was just like, that's one of my favorite clips of all time. That's fucking awesome.
That's sick. I hope you enjoyed it. That part is definitely felt like there were clips like that, just ideas I had, and everything kind of came together with my riding at that time. And filming with Mastroni is a blessing. Like
Yeah.
filming with him was just so good, where I didn't have to think at all about what the clip's going to look like.
Yeah. He's got this. Yeah.
Yeah, and I can just ride to my full effort, you know.
Yep.
So I'll get in my head and be thinking about, is the clip going to look right? And I'll be like hearing how far away they are, and I'm just like, it's not tight enough. And
Right. Yeah. And that'll
to
mess
me,
with
a
you.
clip is what it looks like. Sometimes I think as a rider, if you're not a filmer, you're thinking about what you're doing, but not how it's going to look on camera.
Yeah.
But I kind of went on a tangent there, maybe.
No,
But
that's interesting because like I notice it because if you're especially if you're doing the same thing over and over again or trying something and I'm skating with you, but then on one attempt like I'm skating but I'm a little bit further back, like they look back at me like you fucking up and it just
yeah,
throws off the whole vibe.
absolutely.
All right, before we wrap it up, just couple hitters. Who was the first rider pro you met that you like geeked out on?
Probably Tony Nyer. I want to say, or Dave McDermott. I think Dave McDermott was one of the first dudes I cruised with. I met him through Jeff Z.
How'd
As
you
I
meet Jeff Z?
I sent him an email. I found his email in a Ride BMX magazine because I knew he lived in Long Beach and he like wore animal shirts and shit.
Yeah.
Sent him an email like, yo, would be stoked if you're ever trying to like just cruise around in some alleyways and look for a spot. Like I had no one to ride with.
Nice.
And shout out to Z. He fucking hit me up like a couple days later, invited me to a session at a ditch that Sunday. And from there, it was like every Sunday he hit me up. He'd come pick me up.
That's great.
He introduced me to so many different riders. But Dave McDermott was one of the first dudes on that first session. And I just remember he did like a pole jam to wall ride, and I was so hyped on it.
Sick.
Just because I wasn't used to being with riders doing that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
It just felt so legit.
That
and
is
then
legit.
Dyer as well. Z introduced me to him shortly after. Those were, and then Aaron Bostrom. Those were like the three first pros I met out here.
Hell yeah.
They were dudes I had watched in videos. I knew who they were.
Right.
And even Tony being down to like film a clip with me was like a confidence boost of like, this pro is like down for me to film his clip, you know?
Yes.
I was hyped on it.
Hell yeah. Who's your favorite all-time rider?
All-time favorite rider. Dude, it's hard to narrow it down to one person.
Pick three.
Chase D. Hart is definitely up there. Ian Schwartz. And probably Simone.
That's a solid top three. Beautiful.
Yeah, Simone, so sick. And he's still doing like that 10% video that came out was
Yeah.
incredible.
Unbelievable. Yeah.
Like just every clip, you've never seen that done before. Is the way his brain works is so cool.
He's one of those artists, you know?
Absolutely.
All right. So speaking of all time or just favorites, I mean, do you have a single favorite filmer or maybe name a couple that you love all time?
I feel like it's always kind of shifting and changing around, but I think Rich Forn is like comes to mind as just the best to ever do it as far as what I've seen.
Yeah.
Bringing a style in that's just different and like offering a kind of fresh perspective. That's just it's so cinematic, and he's clearly like doing his own thing.
Again, artist, you know?
Yeah. I mean, all of those videos blow up in views, and I swear like other sports are watching them
Yeah.
because he's not emulating something in skate or anywhere. He's like
It's its
creating his
own
own
thing.
aesthetic.
And I'm starting to see it like worldwide. People are copying Rich Foreign's style, you know?
I mean, you can see it with like the B-roll, like the buildings,
Yep.
the B-roll shots, and then you'll start seeing the riding, and you're like, oh, this isn't Rich because the riding isn't filmed
Yes,
as well.
exactly. Yeah.
It's funny, like most people film riding really well, but maybe don't have as much B-roll or cinematic cuts, or everything looks amazing, but the way the riding is filmed.
Yeah, for real.
Like someone that brings all of that together is so sick. Also, Justin Benthian is one of my favorite dudes.
He's solid. Yeah.
The F It All DVD was amazing. Like
Beautifully
all
done.
the B-roll quick cut stuff he did was great.
Yep.
And then
Shout out Justin.
Navaz has been one of my favorites, as well as Joe Cox.
That's that's solid right there, dude.
Yeah.
Do you know I mean, well, first of all, let's address Navaz, GOAT, like BMX filmer. Like I've never met anybody more dedicated or geeked out on. I hung out with him like, you know, maybe once on a trip or something, and just like hearing the way he talked about cameras and the way he talked about the footage, and he had already been doing it for, you know, 20 years, and he's still that enthused about it. It was incredible. And then my other question is like, I want to talk to Joe Cox. Like, what the hell has Joe Cox been doing? Because they put out that video, Tomorrow We Work, and then poof, gone. You know, they're like, what are they?
To work, dude.
Yeah, they've been working. Where's Joe Cox?
I think I got to meet Dan Cox, his brother.
No shit.
I got to ride with him one day around London.
So jealous.
With James Cox, unrelated, but another filmer.
Yeah, I know.
Me and Z went out to Battle of Hastings, and then for one day stayed with James Cox and rode with them, and it was so sick.
Amazing. What's Dan Cox like?
He's a curator for a museum now. He's like so sophisticated and still rides here and there, but like he's a cool ass dude. Super
curator for a museum.
Dude's smart as fuck and has style, clearly. Like he knows what's good.
Man, Tomorrow We Work and Voices like shaped my entire BMX life. Those two videos, man, I love them.
Tomorrow We Work for me really shaped a lot. And then I heard Joe Cox, I believe he's like buying and selling houses to some extent, or he's like buying. From what I remember hearing, he's involved in the the marketing,
real estate,
housing market, estate. Yeah. Sorry, dude.
He's like Sauce the boss.
Pretty much.
Dude, Sauce hopped in. He was talking to me maybe 2 years ago, and he's like, hey, I'm just going to try and do real estate investing. And I was like, yeah, me too, but I really wasn't. And then he grinded for a couple months, and he got his first deal, and it's 35 grand for one deal. And it's just like, I should have been grinding with you, you know? But that's what I see in my future is real estate investing, or at least like as part of life, because that's just passive income at a certain point. If you grind for a couple of years and get a couple of houses, then you don't have to worry about work, and then you can just make BMX videos all the time for fun if you want, you know?
Sounds very ideal for sure.
Yeah.
I think I've been considering that kind of passive income stuff too. Maybe not real estate, but there's things that can be done.
Yeah, you can create like a LUT, or you can create presets or whatever, some sort of digital product that is like evergreen and can sell, and just set up the infrastructure for that.
Yeah.
It takes a lot of time and effort to do it, but probably worth it. Especially, I don't know what like in BMX you could do or sell to BMX people or BMX filmers or anything. Like I've been thinking about that for 8 years. I don't know. I don't think there's anything that I would want to do. It seems keep that shit out of here.
It doesn't seem like the best industry to try to make passive income from.
Yeah, for real.
I'm thinking about like trying to fucking buy an ATM machine or go in on someone with like for a laundromat or just things like that.
The ATM hustle. I know a couple of dudes out here that do that and make bank. It's interesting. Yeah. All right. So we talked about favorite all-time rider, favorite all-time filmers, your first rider pro you met. Last thing is, are there any riders that I should know about that I don't know about?
Probably. I don't know who you know about and don't know about, but
Put me
try to,
on to a couple of them.
let me think about this. So I definitely pay attention, but I'm also very focused on our current riders. So I'm not always like have dudes on my mind that aren't as well known. But dudes that have kind of stuck out to me lately, you know Josh Dove, right? Dovey. He's a
Mm,
transition dude from Australia. He's like 19 or 20. And he's like reminiscent of an Aiken or someone with
I like the sound of that.
he's just going higher than anyone and just looking so comfortable with everything that he's doing. Did you watch any of the Battle of the Brands videos this year?
I just watched BSD's. How do you spell Dovey?
Dovey.
Josh Dove. I'm
Yeah.
following him now. No, thank you. You just put me on. Hell yeah.
For
Let's go.
transition shredding, like that kid is unreal.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's nuts.
That's art. I love that type of writing because I can't relate to it at all. Like just going up in the air is so uncomfortable for me.
Yeah.
But that's so fun to watch. Like Corey Walsh and Mike Aiken, Chase Hawk, all that type of shit. I admire that so much. That
Yes.
that feels like when somebody pictures BMX, like getting air is what BMX is. But
It's true.
I'm not saying that's all it is, but you get what I'm saying.
It's where we start, right? Just
Yeah,
roasting off a curb cut and like feeling that weightlessness.
yeah. So who else? We got Dove,
You know Mikey Andrew, right? Milky.
Milky. Yeah, he's been on one, dude.
Yes. He's one of my new favorite dudes to watch.
Yeah,
His
and
approach, he's just sick, like has a cool style and great ideas
yes,
and just very motivated. So I
yeah.
love
When I came out there recently, you were filming him on that rail, and he battled for it. And that's the other piece is like he doesn't give up. That was a battle for I don't know how long, an hour and a half. He worked on that. Did that end up in anything? Is that out? That
no.
clip?
We are filming for something for him.
Cool.
We've just been stacking with him in between everything else I have going on.
Dope. So shout out Milky.
Yes.
Give me
It's
two more.
embarrassing, but let me fucking look at who I've been following lately because this might be the best way to do this. I do feel like as of lately, I don't have any like brand new dudes that are catching my eye that I just learned about.
This is kind of part of your job. Being a TM, you got to be a talent scout.
Absolutely is. Which we have some people we're like looking into hooking up or in the process of getting them some stuff.
Ooh, tell me.
We've got dude, I'm blanking. The pressure's getting to me. I should definitely know his name. It's absurd. This is the part you might have to cut out of the interview.
We're leaving it in. Raw dog. What's up, everybody? Welcome to the silence.
Santi Laverde Santiago from Barcelona.
Santi.
His Instagram is Laverde Santiago.
Thank you.
It's sick though. Like he just has such a cool style, and you can tell he's having so much fun when he's riding. And he's on kink already and talking to Jay. He's the man as far as
Ooh,
he's
yeah,
like,
I like him. That's sick.
yes. So we're in the process of sending some stuff over to him.
That's awesome. Congrats, Santi.
But yeah, he's someone like that. His riding caught my eye. Just his style of like how he does his switch whips and his feet come out and just like fucking snatch the pedals up.
Yeah, that's dope.
I'm a huge Lewis Mills fan, but he's one of the most popular.
Never heard of him. I don't know.
I think it's just crazy seeing him from the Common Crew DVD as just a homie clip.
Yeah.
And then slowly becoming like one of the top dudes killing it. And I feel like
real.
I just could tell early on, like this dude has something special.
Yep. Him and Boyd. They just hold it down
Boyd.
for the Australia. I mean, Australia in general, dude. Like, who's the one that did the biggest rail ever on the beach?
Callan Stibbards.
Yeah, that dude's nuts.
He is nutty.
There's something in the water down there in Australia.
There absolutely is. I just thought of one other. Have you heard of Max? What's his last name? I'm not sure what his real name is, but he's from the East Coast. Mystic Maxington. His Instagram is Mystic47Max, but he's a dude I think is pretty underrated. He has like a very interesting style and is doing like some combinations of stuff I'm not seeing other people doing.
Mystic what?
It's Mystic47Max is his handle. His name is Max something. But he's pretty low
Mystic
key.
Maxington. I've
Yes.
seen this kid before.
He's gotten
but like
reposted
a
on
couple of years ago.
RBMX.
Yeah.
He's been riding a while. Like I've followed him for years now, and I think he's pretty low key, but also really sick.
That's dope. Shout out to Mystic Max, man. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Dude, yeah, you're the first person out of everybody that I've asked. You just hit 100% of people that I'm not following or I hadn't heard of yet. You know,
Nice. That's awesome.
boom, you win. You win the podcast.
Thank you.
So,
Tried. I'm sure there's many more shredders out there I should know of, but hey, I know of some.
Well, that's what we were talking about earlier. It's just saturated. There's so many people. So we'll end with, some words of advice to the general youth riding BMX. What would you say to somebody who's, just getting into it?
I would say have as much fun as you can, and there's like times to take things that could be taken seriously, but try not to be too serious either. But pay attention, I think, and like learn what you like and why you like it, if that's possible. At least as far as like, I think that's just going to make BMX cool in the future, as far as having people that kind of like fall into certain realms or maybe take inspiration and then make something new out of it.
Yeah.
I think finding your own lane and trying to do something in your own way is very important, because if you're just emulating things that have already happened, it's not as beneficial to the culture.
True. Yeah.
I think everyone just loves to see someone that's bringing their own spice into something, even if it's how you're doing a trick.
Right.
It's just cool to see. Try to do your own thing. I think that's
beautiful.
Some of the best advice I could give.
Yeah, but I think like when you're young, you should try and learn all of the tricks. And then as you're older, like Simone, for example, like Simone when he was young, just like was a trick rat, just could do all the tricks. And then as he gets older, he gets an eye for it, and he's evolved into, it's like a artist with a paintbrush. You have this bag full of tricks, but you choose what you're doing on these spots, and that's creating art. My advice is there's no pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. Stop screaming for attention, enjoy the process, and have fun with your homies. And don't think you're gonna make a tremendous living off of this BMX world. There's ain't too much money in BMX,
You're right, man. That is also great advice.
Yeah.
It's like definitely the journey, not the destination when it comes to BMX stuff. And I think a lot of dudes like might have a group of their homies, they're filming a video, and it's just kind of like really enjoy what you have, where like this is the sickest part of BMX is working on stuff with your friends, being creative, pushing yourself, achieving goals.
Yes.
Like being a sponsored pro is also amazing, and going on team trips is like a dream come true.
Yep.
But it's not that much different from being out with your homies and like putting in work together.
Same exact thing, except maybe the company pays for gas,
Yeah, like that is the foundation of it. So I would say like cherish those moments that you have working on stuff with your homies.
That's beautiful.
Doesn't last forever. So
well, Krejmas, this has been phenomenal, dude. We did 2 hours 20 minutes.
That's crazy, man.
Maybe a little bit less, a little bit more. Who do you want to see on here next?
Let's see. It could be anyone, right? Is
it
mostly a lot of like industry people? It can be bike riders as well.
Yeah, riders. Arbitrarily, I think for this last like push of doing this, I wanted it to be filmers. So I want to do Mastroni. or at least ask him if he's down to do it. But I think it's just going to evolve into whoever, you know?
Yeah.
So anybody.
Brony was a name that I thought of pretty quickly. I would also like to hear from, I guess, from my own perspective, like working for brands, I'd be interested to hear other marketing managers or people working more behind the
Oh,
scenes.
yeah, me too. Dude, it would be cool to talk to Nuno. I've never
I would
really spoken to Nuno. Who else
just,
is who's another marketing manager for a different company?
let's think. I mean, Robbie would be
Robbie
very,
would be awesome to talk to, but like I'm too scared to ask him.
I feel, yeah.
I don't know who runs their Instagram, but Colt Crew said good podcast on one of them, and I was like, oh my god,
Nice.
oh my
Could have been
god.
him or Vish, who knows?
I'm trying to get Burn Slow to talk to me on here.
That'd be cool. Adam
Adam,
Rowe,
yeah,
that would be really cool to hear from him.
there's definitely gonna be something Burn Slow on this wall coming up soon. I'm excited.
Oh, yeah. I mean, Rich Hirsch,
Yeah, dude.
someone that
Why
influenced
haven't
me
I even
at
thought
such a
about that?
early age. Yeah. Like all the low tech stuff, into the stranger stuff, just
Yeah,
the music he would use, and
dude, he
he had a
shaped the
lot of,
generation with Low Tech Vancouver and Low Tech
yes.
Mixtape and
And
the
then he put
Mosh
out,
So Freestyle. You know, like
yep. So,
shit.
and then he edited Stay Fit. Like he has really had his hand in a lot of videos
Yeah,
that were inspirational.
he shaped the culture.
I feel like he has just a probably an interesting perspective. Or it could be different from other people's.
For real. All right,
Well,
Kramus, get out of here.
we'll get about talking, man. Thanks for the invite on the show, and
Yeah, this felt more natural than any of them so far because I love you. I've known you forever, so this is great. Thank you for
yeah,
coming
man.
on, and adios, YouTube and Spotify and everywhere else. Don't forget to like and subscribe.
Yes, sir.